We're Greg and Carol. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about a subject that's a little bit difficult for us. I know I've mentioned to you that Greg's had a few strokes. He also has cognitive decline, and he took the Montreal test, and I guess that determines where you are. And with the cognitive decline, he is at 22, and 20 is considered dementia. A lot of the things he does is still normal, and some is kind of normal-esque, and some is like, where did that come from? So with the decline, we know we're headed toward dementia. But when he was first going to the doctor for everything, they said, he has cognitive decline. It's very mild, which, okay, that didn't really help me because I've never been around anyone with it, and I didn't know what to expect. And my main thing was, what am I in for? I didn't know what, to prepare for. When he has diabetes and he's had ulcers on his feet and all that, that is something I can look at and go, all right, this is where we are, this is what we're facing, this is what we need to do to take care of it. But with this, I just felt like I was in the middle of the woods, blind. So I've been thinking, and I talked with Greg about sharing his journey. Why don't you say what it's like for you?
I don't really know how to say it. There's some things that seem absolutely normal, and then there's other things that just come out of the blue, and you make a comment and it's totally off the wall. It has nothing to do with anything else.
Now, are you saying you make a comment that's off the wall, or I do?
No, I do. I make the comment.
Okay.
And
do you realize you're saying it?
Well, I hear the words coming out of my mouth,
okay,
but that's about it.
But are you like, why am I saying that? Or are you thinking you're saying something else? Or
No, I'm not thinking I'm saying something else. I understand what I'm saying. It's just, why did you bother saying that?
Okay. Do you have any examples?
No, not really. But that's why I keep my mouth shut a lot, because I'm afraid I'll say something that makes absolutely no sense at all to the conversation that's going on. And I'll say something that will kind of irritate somebody or set them off or insult them, and I'm not meaning to insult them.
Well, part of the reason we decided to move forward with this is, like I said in the beginning, and I would talk to doctors and everything, and I'd say, so what does this mean? Where are we headed? And they're like, he's going to get worse. Okay, that tells me nothing. He's going to get worse. I don't know what that means. So I thought, if this can help somebody else at least to have an idea, we should do it. I apologize. Okay. Some of the things that I have noticed just yesterday or the day before. Now, he's older. He has a little bit of a hearing issue. So I would say something to him, and he'd say, "What?" And I would repeat it. And now, usually, if I just repeat it, he understands what I'm saying. Now, when I repeat it the second time, he would say, "What?" again. And I noticed that when I would say it the third time, he would watch my mouth to watch me form the words. And then I could look in his eyes and I could see him trying to process what I was saying. And it would be a simple sentence like, "A car just drove by." And it would take him a good 20 to 30 seconds to process that.
Oh, I was going to say it'd take me a minute to process it.
It takes a lot longer than it should. And that's new. That I've just started seeing that. That scared me. One of the reasons we go to breakfast and lunch, and most people know by now that we do a lot of fast food. We do pick the healthier items on the menu and we split it. So I feel like it's not that horrible. But we do that because it helps his memory, because we're doing the same thing all the time. And we basically get the same meal. And I'm going to do that as long as he wants to. What are some other things that you think you do? Oh, I was looking for a napkin. Sorry.
I don't really know. It takes me a lot longer to add and subtract numbers. Like when we go to PT, they keep track of how far I walk, and they keep it in individual. And I have actually asked them to do this. Is like if I do 20 feet or if I do 50 feet, or they'll give me the numbers separately, and I'll try and add them and see how quickly I can get it and if I'm accurate or not. I have noticed that it takes me even three simple two-space digits. It takes me a lot longer to add them in my head up. And I know they're using a calculator, but all of my life I have been able to do that stuff in my head, and I can still do it in my head, but it just takes like 3 times longer than it normally would have taken.
Yeah. And I order our meals on the app, and you get a little code so that you can tell the servers when you get there. And I always tell him the code before we leave. And then like halfway here, I'll say, "Do you remember the code?" And he'll say what he thinks it is. And if he's wrong, I'll correct him and I'll say, "No, it's this." And then as we're like pulling in, he'll say, "Is it?" And he'll tell me what he thinks the code is. You have gotten it right before.
I was going to say, I've been right the last few days about 4 out of 10 times. Not that many? Okay.
Once. But, like if he remembers even a part of it, I'll let him know that he at least got that. Excuse me. And then this one's a little hard for me because he made this comment today, and he will say, he will accuse me of a certain type of personality or something that I'll say, or I'll get on to him about something if he does something a certain way, and I wouldn't. It's not my personality to do that at all, but in his head, he's thinking I would do something, and that's hard to describe. Like he was holding the bag, and he goes, I don't want to hear about it for the rest of my life that I dropped the bag. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, okay.
But in his head, he was convinced that if he dropped the bag, I would jump all over him and remind him of it every day. So that was a little difficult. So basically, what we'll do is periodically we'll give you a little update so that if you get the initial conversation from your doctor that that's where your loved one is, maybe I can tell you a little something that is probably in your future. That doesn't mean it will be in your future, but this is what we've experienced, and
So you'll be able to look out for it.
for your own peace of mind. So I'll try and keep track of different things that's occurring, and I'll keep you up to date on how he's doing. But I wish they could tell you more to prepare you and to help you through it. I don't know if they just don't know enough or if there's just nothing that they can offer. I don't know. So I'll do what I can to help.